Hello everybody and good morning and welcome to today's lesson. We are focusing on the topic of the perfect tenses in English, and today is very interesting because this topic is very important and it's a very big part of English. So we will explain the present perfect, I will also explain the past perfect, and also I will explain using the modal verbs with the perfect tense. So it's a really important lesson and it's very interesting. I recommend that you study this topic first and then use my video as extra assistance, extra help. Subtitles during my video. There are subtitles available on the Facebook Live page, so you can select the subtitles option and this will give you the words I am speaking, and maybe this is easier for you to follow the lesson. First question, the noise. At the moment I have a machine. The machine is working at the moment, and for me it's very loud, but I don't know if you can hear the noise. So if you're listening, please tell me if the sound is good or if the sound is bad. If the sound is bad, I will turn off the machine. So please, if you can tell me if the sound is okay, that would be perfect as well. So your comment, please leave your comment here in the chat and I can answer any questions that you have during the lesson here in the chat. So this is a very good opportunity to interact and please feel free to leave your message in the chat. So I will just begin and say hello everybody. And is the sound okay? That's my first question for you, and you can leave your comment in the chat when you are ready. Okay, so first, this is my schedule. So you can see my schedule for last week, and today we are at Saturday. We discuss a grammar topic at 9 a.m. After we continue to the Cambridge First Certificate exam lesson at 10:30, and this is very interesting as well. So I'm very, very happy to teach online and to teach you many different topics, and I think it's fantastic. But I will need support, and at the moment I'm looking for support from a company, from a business, from charities, organizations. Anybody who wants to support me, I will need your support to make this project successful. So hopefully you can support me. But my schedule next week will probably be very similar to this particular schedule, I expect. Also, contact. If you want to contact me on social media, the Instagram page is @meliora_ingles, and there are lots of funny, interesting, short videos explaining expressions on Instagram and also TikTok as well. So the TikTok account is @meliora_ingles, and also on YouTube I have a lot of content very similar to the Facebook page on the YouTube channel. And finally, Pinterest is very similar to Instagram, and WhatsApp is available if you want to ask a question, to leave a comment, or any particular question you can ask on WhatsApp if you want about the lessons. Okay, so that is available if you want to contact me. As I said, sponsorship, advertising. I am looking for a business, I am looking for a company to support my work. This project is a free project, trying to teach English for free, and I'm trying to reach lots of different people online. I think it's very, very good. I think it's exciting, and I think it's very beneficial for a lot of people. However, I have my costs, and at the moment I'm struggling to meet my costs. So I will hopefully need a company to support me and a business or something like this. So you can contact me if you want to support me, and I can put your company information here. I can explain about your business and logo also, and you can share this video on your behalf as well, representing your business if you wish. So that is the information for today. First, this is the page. So we normally use the British Council website, specifically the Learn English section of the British Council website, to teach grammar. It's a really, really good website. It's very clear. It has a lot of material and it's excellent to learn grammar. Grammar is difficult. Grammar is boring. Grammar requires a lot of time and concentration. But I think this page is very, very useful and very good. So I recommend this page to study your grammar, as well as the Cambridge website at the top. So there's two pages that are very good. The British Council and the Cambridge website is very good as well. You can see here the Cambridge Dictionary is very good to learn grammar. And this is the topic today. So we're English grammar, we move to verbs, and specifically we speak about the perfect tenses, and today that is the topic of the lesson. So I think that's everything. I think we are ready to begin. Again, if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the chat, and no comment at the moment, so that is okay. As I said, the noise, please tell me if the noise is okay. First, let me explain to you the perfect, because in English we have the present simple, which is now. We have the present simple. We also have the past simple. So they're very important. One action that happens in the present is the present simple. One action that happens in the past, it's completed. That's the past simple. And we also have the construction in the future, will. So that's the present simple, past simple, future. We also have the continuous. Okay, so the continuous is very important. We have the present continuous, the past continuous, the future continuous. And to create the continuous, we need the subject plus the verb to be plus the ing form. So this is the way to create the continuous: subject, extra auxiliary verb to be, and the ing form. This is the way to create the continuous form. Present continuous, I am eating, I am drinking. Past continuous, I was eating, I was drinking. Future continuous, I will be eating, I will be drinking. Next, we have more. We have the infinitive, we have the active and passive, and we have the perfect. So in the perfect, we have the present perfect and we have the past perfect. So that's it's not clear really at the moment, but what I'm trying to say is the perfect is possible in the present perfect. This is the period of time that started in the past and it continues more or less in the present. The construction, there's the stop. The construction of the perfect is the subject, the auxiliary verb to have, plus the participle of the verb. This is how to construct the perfect: subject, auxiliary, plus participle. And the auxiliary is possible in the present or it's possible in the past. So that is the way to conjugate: subject plus the verb to have plus the participle. And this is the way to create the perfect tense. That's the first explanation, very, very basic. But the page is probably better. The website here will probably explain more officially and probably clearer as well. So let us begin and we will explain the theory and also practice the exercises as well. So let's begin. The present aspect or the present tense. Learn about the perfect verb forms: present perfect, past perfect, modal plus perfect, and do some exercises, do some activities using them, to practice using them. We begin with level intermediate. My explanation is probably level beginner. So let's move to level intermediate from the page. Okay, let's go. We use perfect aspect, perfect tenses to look back from a specific time and talk about things up to that time or about things that are important at that time. That's a little technical. That's a bit difficult explanation to understand. So maybe take your time and you need to consider these sentences again. So take your time, try to read this again and try to understand the message. So we repeat. We use the perfect aspect to look back from a specific time and talk about things up to that time or about things that are important at that time. So again, it's complicated. That explanation is complicated. So let's continue. We use the present perfect to look back from the present. When you're speaking in English and you want to explain something in the past from the perspective of the present. That's the theory, that's the explanation. And for example, now I want to explain this morning. I want to look back at this morning, look back at yesterday, look back at the party yesterday, look back at the meeting, etc., etc. So that is the purpose of the perfect present perfect form. First example, subject, I. Auxiliary have in the present plus the participle. This is the present perfect. So I have. Adverb is more complicated. I have always enjoyed working in Italy. This means you're in the present now, but you're looking back at the past and you're from the perspective of the present. So basically working in Italy started in the past and it continues to happen in the present. This is the intention and the function of the perfect tense, the present perfect tense. Okay, so you continue and you still work in Italy. So that's the present perfect. Auxiliary have plus the participle. I have enjoyed. Next example. She has left home, so she cannot answer the phone. Subject, she. The verb to leave, to depart, in the participle is left. Leave, left, left. So this is the third column and the participle plus the auxiliary verb to have in the present. She has left. This is the present perfect and you're in the perspective of the present, but you're looking back at the past. So it's connected to the present, but really it also happened in the past. Therefore, so, she, subject, cannot answer the phone. Cannot is important because in correct formal English, it's necessary to write cannot most of the time instead of contraction. So cannot is better, more formal, more polite way to write cannot in the contraction. So the contraction is not the best idea, especially in formal situations. So this situation is formal and correct and good. So she has left home, therefore, so she cannot answer the phone. You're in the perspective of the present, but you're looking back at the past. Also, we use the past perfect. So now we continue to the past perfect. To look back from a time in the past. So it's not connected to the present. The present perfect is from the perspective of the present, looking back in the past. But the past perfect is looking back from a perspective of the past. Obviously difficult and complicated explanation, but it's important to understand that message. Okay, so let's look at the sentence for the past perfect. The construction of the past perfect is the auxiliary verb to have in the past form plus the participle, the third column, enjoyed. So the past moment, it was 2006, and from this perspective in 2006, I had enjoyed working in Italy for the past 5 years. So we are in the past and we are looking back from this particular point in the past. And this is the past perfect. It's difficult, but that is the theory and the explanation of the past perfect. Okay, and the next example, she had left home, so she could not answer the phone. So again, she had left home is the perspective in the past. That's the past perfect. She had left home. Therefore, we look back and she could not answer the phone from that moment. Okay, so this is the theory and the concept of the present perfect and the past perfect. Very important, big parts of English everyday speaking, everyday listening, everyday writing, everyday reading. The perfect, present perfect, past perfect are really big parts of English. Next, we use will with the perfect to look back from a time in the future. So remember, the present perfect, the present perfect, we look back from the perspective of the present. The past perfect, we look back from the perspective of the past moment. The future perfect with will, we look back from the perspective of the future. Very complicated, but very important. And for native English speakers, it's very fluent and normal. We do not generally think much about this idea, but if you're learning English, you definitely need to put effort into learning this concept. And it's the same for other languages, I think. For example, when I learned French, when I learned Spanish, I needed to think a lot about the concept of the perfect. So let's look at the next example. By next year, I will have worked in Italy for 15 years. So by means at the time of next year. I will have worked in Italy for 15 years. Subject, I. Will, modal. Perfect, have worked in Italy for 15 years. So we are in the future and we are looking back from the perspective of the future. Not to the present, we are still in the future, but we are from the perspective of one point in the future and we come back a little. This is the future perfect with the modal will plus the perfect. And it's only possible with the auxiliary have. It's not possible will had. No, it's impossible to say will had. No, we always say will have worked. And this is the same rule with the other modal verbs. Might have worked, may have worked, could have worked, have, not had. Okay, so that's the first sentence. The second sentence, she will have left home by 8:30, so she will not be able to answer the phone. So a very similar example. And we are in the future, 8:30. And from that particular moment, we come back a little in the past. She will have left home by that time. Very advanced, very important, very fluent English, and very good quality. So let's specifically look now at the present perfect. You remember the present perfect is looking back from the present perspective, looking back to the past. The construction is the subject, the auxiliary have, and the participle. And this is the way to create the present perfect. So before we begin, let me check the questions. If you have a question, if you have a comment, you can put your comment here. And hello, Nakauj. And a question, Nakauj. The sound is okay? I'll just respond to Nakauj because I need to check if the sound is okay or you can hear the machine in the back. So very good. And yes, we continue now to look specifically at the perfect Also, my dog is in the garden and it's possible I need to go and help the dog for 2 minutes if the dog makes noise as well. So very noisy. We have the machine, we have the dog, and the house is also full as well. So I hope that we can continue in more or less the same way. Okay, let's move, let's continue. And as I said, the present perfect, we look at the perspective of the present and we look back. So this is the perspective of the present perfect. From the present, we look back to the past. And here is the explanation. We use the present perfect for something that started in the past and continues in the present. It started in the past, but it continues in the present. For example, subject they, auxiliary have been, plus the verb to marry. They have been married for nearly almost 50 years. And this started in the past. They married in the past 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago, and they continue in the present to be married. And this is exactly when we use the present perfect. Okay, the next example. She, subject, has lived in Liverpool all her life. Okay, give me one moment. My dog is making a lot of noise, so I need to help the dog. And you can continue here and just review this sentence, and I will return in one moment. Sorry. One moment. Oh. Okay, I am back. So let's continue. And sorry for the interruption. The dog was in the garden and I needed to help the dog. Okay, so we continue. And we continue with the present perfect. So I'll just move the light here and you can see everything better and clearer. And I have another light here, so I have two lights to try and make everything very clear and easy to see. And hopefully that is fine and that is easy to see. Okay, so just one moment. So it's obviously complicated when I have to move and help the dog because I need to move everything. Okay, let's go. Let's continue. So that example is the present perfect. She has lived in Liverpool all her life. This started in the past and it continues in the present. And this is exactly how to create the present perfect. Subject, auxiliary verb have, plus the participle lived. Excuse me. Next time, the next purpose, the next time we use the present perfect is when we are talking about our experience up to the present. So our experience up unto the present. It's a very simple combination in English, up to, but it's very powerful and important as well. For instance, you are working up to 8 o'clock. This means you continue working but stop at 8 o'clock, up to 8 o'clock. So we are talking about an experience, up to the present. That's the second possibility. The first possibility is something that started in the past and continues in the present, but the second possibility is something, an experience that continues to the present. So here is the example. Subject, I. Auxiliary, have. Participle, seen. I have seen that film before. This is an experience that happened before the present. So it does not continue exactly, but the consequences are very relevant to the present. This is the second time to use the present perfect. The next example, subject I, auxiliary have, played is the participle. This is the present perfect formula. The guitar, since I was a teenager, ever since, the always since is one moment in the past I was a teenager. So this is the experience that started in the past and it continued until, up to the present. So maybe it continues, we don't know, in the present, but it's very relevant to the present because maybe you continue to have the skills, you continue to have the ability to play the guitar, so therefore it is relevant to the present, but maybe not continuing, if you see the little difference. Third example, he, subject, has is the participle, the auxiliary, has is the auxiliary verb to have in the present, plus the participle written, 3 books, and he is working on another one. He is writing, working on, trying to improve a new one at the moment. So this is the present perfect, and it started in the past. It's an experience, and it continued until, up to the present. Does it continue in the present? Probably not. The action probably does not continue in the present, but it's relevant to the present. The consequences are relevant to the present. I'm just looking at the weather. The weather we have in Dublin again is very bad. It's the 2nd of July and it's raining and dark and it's a typical summer. Okay, the next possible time, this is the third opportunity to use the perfect for something, the present perfect, for something that happened in the past but is important and relevant in the present. This is what I was saying. Something that happened in the past, but it is relevant and important for the present. For instance, I cannot get in the house. I cannot enter the house. I've lost my keys. So this is the first example. The subject is I. The auxiliary is have. The participle is lost. My keys are the object. So it's impossible for me to enter the house. I cannot enter the house because I have lost my keys in the past. So you lose, the verb to lose, past lost, and present perfect, I have lost my keys in the past, but continues to be very important and relevant to the present. And this is the other possibility to use the present perfect. So 3 different explanations to use the present perfect. Next sentence. Teresa isn't at home. Teresa or Teresa. I think there's different pronunciations. Teresa or Teresa isn't at home. She is not at home. I think she has gone shopping. So the past, she is not at home. I think she has gone shopping. So to go shopping is in the past, but it continues to be very important to the present and very relevant to the present. She has gone shopping. Okay, next. We normally use the present perfect continuous, have been eating, have been going, have been talking, the present perfect continuous, to emphasize that something is still continuing in the present. So for emphasis, we typically use the present perfect continuous to say something continues in the present. So the machine has stopped. This lesson I am teaching, this lesson in the present, but this lesson, the teaching, started in the past. Therefore, the present perfect continuous is excellent to explain me teaching this lesson. Therefore, I have been teaching this lesson for 30 minutes. So that's the present perfect continuous. It is something that started in the past, and we emphasize that it's continuing in the present. So here is the example, and perfect for Dublin. It has been raining for hours. So it has been raining for hours. This is the present perfect continuous. It started in the past and it continues to rain in the present, and it has been raining for a long time, for many hours, and it continues to rain in the present. It has been raining for hours. Next example, I am tired out. Yesterday we saw this expression as well. It's like a phrasal verb, tired out. It means completely tired, absolutely tired, if you are tired out. So I am tired out at the moment in the present because I have been working all day, starting in the past and continuing emphasis that you continue to work at the moment. So that's another description of the present perfect. Well, in this case specifically, it's the present perfect continuous. So we have three different descriptions of using the present perfect, and also this description is the fourth to describe using the present perfect continuous. Very, very interesting, very important, very grammatical, and very, very good discussion about the present perfect and explanation about the present perfect. Now we move to the past perfect, okay, and we discuss when we use the past perfect in this particular section. Now it's the opportunity to check the questions. Do you have any questions, and do you have any comments? The sound is okay, fantastic, because I was worried that this machine was loud and you could not hear me, but now it's silent and everything is quiet. Maybe it's better with some sound in the back. I think for me it's better with more noise in the back, especially if you cannot hear it. Okay, great. So let's continue to the past perfect. We use the past perfect. Remember, the past perfect is looking into the past from the perspective of the past. So already you are in the position of the past and you want to describe the other action in the past. This is the past perfect. So we use the past perfect for something that started in the past and continued to another time in the past. So it started in the past and it continued until up to another moment in the past. This is the past perfect. One description of using the past perfect. For example, we have two different sentences here. When George died, he and Anne had been married for nearly 50 years. So George is the subject. The verb is to die. And this is a very important verb because the past is started again. The past is irregular, die, died. The adjective is dead. So the adjective is dead and the past is irregular, died. The noun, the substantive, is the death. So when George died, this is the past simple. He and Anne had been married for nearly 50 years. So the perspective of the past, the moment he died, the period before is the past perfect continuous because it started in the past and it continued all the way until that moment in the past. He and Anne had been married for nearly 50 years. Very, very good example, very fluent English, very advanced English and very good quality English. If you are studying English, if you are learning English, I recommend that you try to use the past perfect, the present perfect continuous, and the past perfect continuous as much as you possibly can appropriately because it's very impressive. Okay, next sentence. Now, excuse me, I sneezed. Okay, obviously. So let's look at the next sentence. She didn't want to move to Liverpool. Sorry, she didn't want to move. Full stop. She had lived in Liverpool all her life. So the first sentence is the past simple. She did not want to move. That's the past simple, a perspective in the past. So the time before that particular moment in the past, we're using the past perfect. She had lived in Liverpool all her life and she did not want to move from that moment in the past. Very interesting. And basically, that is the use and the description of the past perfect. The second description and time we can use the past perfect is when we are reporting our experience up to a point in that past. Very similar to the present perfect. This is our experience up to that point in the past. Okay, so let's look at the same, another example. My 18th birthday was the worst day I had ever had. So your experience of your birthday, and it's the 18th birthday. Today, in the present, you are older, but in the past, you were 18 and you celebrated your birthday. For the time before that, to describe your experience, it was the worst day. So it was the worst day I had had. And yes, it is possible in English, had plus had, and this is the past perfect of the actual verb to have, because the auxiliary is have as well in the past perfect, plus the participle of the original actual verb to have. So it was the worst day I had ever had. Okay, next. I was pleased, I was happy, I was delighted, I was glad to meet George. And that is the past moment, past perspective. I was happy to meet George. I was pleased to meet George. I had never met him before. So your experience in the past until that moment, I had never met him. I had not met him before. So that's the past perfect before the particular perspective and moment in the past. Okay, even though I had met his wife several times. So this is considered your experience in the past. Okay, the next description for something that happened in the past and it is important at a later time in the past. So the past perfect is used for something that happened in the past and is important at a later time in the past. So again, they're all very similar descriptions. So let's look at this example. In the past simple, I could not enter the house. I could not get into the house. I could not enter because I had lost my keys before that moment. So here is the past simple. I could not enter the house because I had lost my keys. So very similar, really, all in the same general area of the past before a specific perspective of the actual past as well. Next, Teresa was not at home. Past simple. Teresa was not at home because she had gone shopping before that period. Up to that point, she had gone shopping. The auxiliary verb have plus the participle go, gone, shopping. Okay, so that's the past perfect, and this is the times and the explanation when we use the past perfect. Next, we use the past perfect continuous to show that something started in the past and continued up to a time in the past. So again, this is the same, except it's more continuous before this particular moment in the past. So again, we have a particular perspective of the past and we have a continuous period of time and action. So here is the first example. Everything was wet. Everything was completely wet. That's the past simple. It had been raining continuously That's the past perfect continuous for hours. Okay, so that's the past perfect continuous because the action had been happening continuously before the one particular moment in the past. The second example, he was a wonderful guitarist. He had been playing ever since he was a teenager. He was a wonderful guitarist is the past simple, one moment in the past, and to describe the time before that moment continuously, that's the past perfect continuous. He had been playing until he was a teenager. Okay, so obviously in the present, probably not continuing and maybe not relevant to the present. Okay, so that's the past perfect continuous. Now we move to the next section, and the next section is describing how to use the modal verbs with the perfect tenses. Remember, the modal verbs are may, might, could, should, can, etc., must, ought to, will. So modal verbs are very important, and now we use the modal verbs with the perfect tenses, the present perfect, the past perfect, present perfect continuous, or past perfect continuous. Okay, first, questions. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please put your comments here. And thank you, Nakahuj, and thank you, Borak, as well, for your messages. And I hope that you are enjoying the lesson a little, because it's very difficult with the theory and the grammar. So thank you very much for all your comments and your messages. So let's continue a little with this section of using the modal verbs: can, may, might, could, should, must, ought to, will, plus the perfect tenses. Let's check. We use will with the perfect to show that something will be complete at or before some time in the future. So now we're in this perspective of the future, and we want to say the period of time at or before this time in the future. So again, we use will plus have and the participle. For example, I will have eaten my dinner by 6 o'clock today. So the particular time in the future is 6 o'clock, and you want to describe the time before that moment, but still after the past, the present. So here is the present, here is the future. So we want to describe the time that is here. Not the present, it's more the future, but before the point in the future. That is when we use will and the perfect. Here is a good example. In a few years, so this is the particular moment in the future, in a few years, they, subject, will have discovered a cure for the common cold. So the subject is they, and the future modal is will plus the perfect, present perfect, have discovered a cure for the common cold. But the limit is a few years, and the period of time before the few years is the future modal will plus the present perfect. Okay, very, very interesting. And the common cold is just a way to say the ordinary, normal influenza. Okay, next example. Modal can for ability and permission. I have the ability, I can come out tonight, I can go to the party. So that's the one moment in the future, because I will have finished my homework. In the period before that, I will have completed, I will have finished my homework until that moment, before that moment. So it's the future, and it's a period of time before the future, but definitely after the present, if you understand. And that is exactly when we use the future will modal, will plus the present perfect, or the perfect. Okay, so I recommend that you study this page again. I recommend that you try to review this page to understand. And let's continue next with the word would plus the perfect. So the previous example is the modal will, might, may, could. Now specifically we look at the word would with the perfect. to refer to something that did not happen in the past. So hypothetical, something that did not happen in the past, we use would plus the perfect. For example, would have eaten, would have gone, would have done, would have contacted, would have phoned, etc. So here is the first example. If, conditional, if you had asked me in the past, I would have helped you. So would plus the perfect is to describe something that did not happen in the past. Conditional, very typical with the conditional. If you asked me, or if you had asked me, I would have helped you. Next, I would have helped you, but you did not ask me. So I would have helped you, would plus the perfect, but you did not ask me in the past simple. Okay, and then again, the same idea in a different variation in the next example. You did not ask me, past simple, you did not ask me, or I would have helped you, because if you asked me, I would have helped you. Okay, we use other modals with the perfect when we are looking back from a point in time. So the modal with the perfect when we are looking back from a particular moment in time, maybe the future. So let's look at this example. We will meet again. That's the future. We will meet again next week, particular moment in time. We might have finished the work by then. It's a modal to describe the period of time before that moment. And it's a possibility, might, may, could, possibility that you will finish or you will have finished that work before that moment when you meet next week. So very, very similar structure to above, but this specifically is all the other modal verbs: might, may, could, should, ought to, must, have to, etc. So the next example is, I will phone at 6 o'clock. This is the particular perspective in the future. I will phone at 6 o'clock. This, he should have got home before that time. Should is recommendation and advice plus the participle in the present perfect. He should have got home by that time. Okay, so very, very interesting. Or the present, it's possible the modals in the present. For example, it is getting late in the present continuous. It is becoming late. They should have arrived until this moment, before this moment. I recommend that they should have advice, they should have arrived before now. Next example, he is not here. Still, he is not here. He must have missed the train. So he must have missed the train. You're almost certain and definite that he missed the train because he is not here at the moment in the present. Or the past. I was not feeling good. I was not feeling well in the past. I must have eaten something bad before that moment in the past. Must is the modal plus the perfect, must have eaten something bad. It's almost definite. You are sure that you have eaten something bad in that time before. Second example, I checked my mobile phone, a particular perspective in the past, a particular moment. She could have left a message before that particular time. It's a possibility. With could, she may, she could, she might. Perfect, have left a message before that time. So that's very interesting and lots of good explanations for the perfect. Present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and also the modals with the perfect form. Now we look at some exercises, and this is very interesting. So the instruction, we must choose the correct perfect form, the present perfect, or the past perfect, or will have plus the participle to complete the sentence. So we have three possible structures: the present perfect, have eaten; the past perfect, had eaten; or will have eaten, which is the modal in the future before a particular time in the future. So let's check the 9 questions. Okay, so here is the first option, and let me zoom out to show you the options. Questions. If you have a question, please put your question here. I don't see anything at all. Well, thank you, Borak. But if you have an answer, if you want to put your answer in the chat, go ahead and select the correct answer that you think. First, I was furious. That's the past simple. I was angry. I was furious when my new computer stopped working. So that's the past simple. I was furious when my computer stopped working. And again, that's the past. It for 2 weeks. It is the computer, and I have had it for 2 weeks. I had had it for 2 weeks. I will have had it for 2 weeks. So what do you think is the correct answer? I was furious in the past, simple, that particular perspective. I was angry, not in the present, it's the past. So we are describing the period before the past, up to that moment, and therefore it's the past perfect. To create the past perfect, we need the auxiliary to have in the had form plus the participle of the other verb, which is had as well. So the only option I think is I had had it for 2 weeks. That's my opinion. I might be wrong, but I think that could be the correct answer for that option. Let's continue to the next question, number 2. Paul is the verb to be. Paul is one of my closest friends. So I have a group of close friends, and Paul is one of my closest friends in the present. The verb to be in the present, simple. Him, since we were at school together. So we are speaking about the present, and we want to describe the moment, the period before we were at school together, since we were at school together. So since that moment we were at school, I continue to know him until the present. So I think this is the present perfect. And to create the present perfect, we need the subject, the auxiliary verb to have in the present, have plus the participle of the verb to know, which is know, knew, known. So the present perfect is I have known him since that moment until the present. I think that is the correct answer for me. Let's continue to question 3. Future. This time next year, my parents, the period of time before the particular moment in the future, this is the future modal will plus the perfect, will have been married for 50 years. So obviously for a native English speaker, this is easier, but for students, it's maybe more difficult. So I think will have been is the correct answer for this particular case. My parents will have been married for 50 years. So let's continue to question 4. Question 4 is a question. Do we have to watch this film again? So is it an obligation? Is it necessary, an obligation to watch this film again? This is the question. And therefore, it's related to the past because you saw the movie in the past. Subject, we, something, the movie 3 times already. So the first part is the present. Do we have to watch this film again now in the present? Because the previous time before is the present perfect. So we need to describe the period of time before, the particular perspective and time in the present. Therefore, this is the present perfect. And to create the present perfect, we need the subject, we, the auxiliary verb to have in the present, have, plus the participle of the verb see, saw, seen, third column. So we have seen it 3 times already because it started in the past and it continues in the present as well to be very relevant and your experience. Number 5. By the time he was 30. So normally this structure, by the time, is the future, but in this case it's the past. by the time he was 30 in the past. Baker, more than 50 countries. So we want to describe the period of time before that particular perspective in the past when he was 30. So we need to describe the particular time in the past before up to that moment in the past. Therefore, this is the classic perfect example of the past perfect. To create the past perfect, we need the subject. The subject is Baker. We need the auxiliary verb to have in the past, had, plus the participle, visit, visited, visited. So had visited is the correct structure, I think, here. Baker had visited more than 50 different countries. Let's continue to question 6. And here is the comment: just the moment, just as, so the moment when they left the railway station, that's the past simple. They realized, so the next past, they realized that they, so the period before the action again in the past, and this is the same, it's the past, plus we need the period before this past perspective, which is the past perfect. And to create the past perfect, we have the subject, they, plus the auxiliary had, have in the past, had, plus the participle, get, got, had got on the wrong train. And this is definitely the past and definitely the period of time before the perspective in the past. Let's continue to number 7. Number 7, all my friends are getting married. In fact, my friend is getting married today. All my friends are getting married. And this is the present continuous. So probably it's the present. By the end of this year, that's the future, a specific moment in the future. By the end of this year, something 6 weddings. So a particular moment in the future, we want to describe the period of time before this particular perspective or moment in the future. Therefore, this is the future. Modal, will plus the perfect. Will, auxiliary have plus the participle. Will have been to 6 weddings. 2 more. And I think that's the correct answer. And hopefully you are selecting the correct answer, I hope, because it's more or less very similar, a lot of the questions. I am afraid. This is the present. I am afraid. I cannot use this credit card in the present. It's not possible for me to use this credit card in the present. Something, my PIN. So we need to describe the period of time before the present and until that particular moment perspective in the present. Therefore, we need the present perfect because it continues to be relevant and important in the present. And this is a good example of the present perfect. To create the present perfect, we need the subject, the auxiliary verb have, in the present have, plus the participle. So I have forgotten my PIN number is the present perfect. And the final question: by the year 2500, I'm sure mankind know to travel faster than light. So here in relation to time, it's a specific moment in the future. By the year 2500, specific moment in the future, we want to describe the time, the period before that moment. Therefore, this is the modal will plus the perfect. So the only option correct here is mankind, humans, will have learned how to travel faster than light, I think is the correct answer. Let's select finish. It's possible we have some mistakes. It's possible I have some errors, but let's check the finish results. Good, everything is correct. That is 9 from 9. Very, very good. Excuse me. So let's look at the second options, and we have 9 more questions, and we'll do this very quickly. Okay, but first, any questions from you? I can check the comments. And thank you, Borak. And it's good practice, definitely. So hopefully the exercises are very, very good. So here is the question. Paul is present, one of my closest friends. Present perfect. I have known him since we were at school. So the moment in the past, and it continues to be relevant in the present. And this is something that started in the past and continues in the present. Yes, I think option 1 is correct. Experience up to the present. Maybe something that happened in the past but is important in the present. Wow. So these are very, very similar, and this is difficult. But what do you think? For me, I would suggest it's the first one because it continues to be relevant in the present. So for me, the three options are very, very, very similar. This is more difficult because the three options are very similar, and maybe I will have a lot of mistakes here. So let's look at this one. Do we have to watch this film again? We have seen it 3 times already, and it's an experience, I think, that up to the present. But I think option 3 is definitely a strong option as well. But let's select the second option because probably that's a little bit more appropriate. Maybe. I'm not totally sure because my memory is not good. Next, I'm afraid I cannot use this credit card. I have forgotten my PIN number. Something that started in the past. No, not really. Experience, not really. Yes, I think number 3 because it's important in the present, but it happened in the past. This is very quick. I will give you the answers very quickly because we will finish very, very soon. And I think it's just an interesting exercise. So just as they left the railway station, they realized they had got on the wrong train. Something that started, no. Experience up to the present. I think it's option 3 again, in my opinion. I could have mistakes. So hopefully you can select your own answer as well. By the time he was 30, Baker had visited more than 50 different countries. So, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. He had visited more than 50 different countries because it definitely happened in the past. Continues in the present? No. Experience up to the present? Maybe, but it's more in the past. Something that happened in the past but is important in the present. Let's select option 2, but I'm not sure. So I have a feeling I have a lot of mistakes in this one. And I was furious when my new computer stopped working. I had it for 2 weeks. And again, let's select option 3. So I'm almost guessing now at this stage. So I want this exercise to end at this stage. I've only 3 more. All my friends are getting married. By the end of this year, I will have been to 6 weddings. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm guessing this one in particular. I'm guessing. So let's check the answers because I think we want to check all the possible answers. So let me put the answers here. Show answers. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Number 1 is friends, something that started in the past, continues in the present. The next one, an experience. So they're all very, very similar, but let's continue to the next one. Something that happened in the past but is important in the present. You forgot your PIN. Okay, the next one, just as they left the railway station, they realized they had got the wrong train. Okay, it's important in the present. And by the time he was 30, Baker had visited more than 50 different countries. Experience into the present. And I'll just move very quickly to the last ones. That's the first option. And this one is the third option. And 2 more. This time next year, my parents will have been married. So something that's, okay, it continues in the present. Yes, I understand. And the last one, by the year, I'm sure mankind will learn how to travel fast and life and experience up to the present. Okay. Very good. So that is the end of the lesson today. Very, very good lesson and very full of content specifically related to the perfect tense. Monday, we will continue with a different topic. On Monday, we continue to the topic of the continuous aspect. On Monday, we speak about the present continuous, the past continuous, and the future continuous on Monday. tomorrow is Sunday and we have a rest, of course, but we continue on Monday with the continuous aspect. Tomorrow, today at 10:30 in 25 minutes, I continue with the B2 first certificate lesson, and that will be very interesting. And also, if you want to contact me, you can contact me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, or WhatsApp as well. You have all the information and contact details as well. I am looking for a business. I am looking for a company to support me. I am looking for funding for this project, and I really need this support to continue. So if you are a company, if you are a business, if you are a school or a charity, and you want to collaborate with me and support me, I will promote your business. I will promote your company, your school during this lesson. You can also share my content with your branded information. I can put your logo and explain a little about your business as well. So that will be important to finance and to fund my lesson and my project, because it's not possible to ask the students to pay, because a lot of the students don't have the ability to pay for these lessons, I don't think. So that's my alternative way to fund this project, and I'm contacting companies hoping to find a solution for the funding of the project. So that's it. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for your time. Remember, if you have a question, you can put your question here. And hello, Apiwat. Thank you so much for connecting from Thailand, I think. Apiwat, and thank you so much. If you have a question, a comment, please contact me. And thank you, everybody, so much for your attention and for your time. And hopefully you can enjoy the next lessons. Why is this not sending? I don't know. Okay, so let me move here for a moment and go back. No, okay, so you understand. I think I want to send the message, but my computer is not working here. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a good day, and hopefully I will talk to you very, very soon, and enjoy your Saturday. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.